Welcome, everybody, to Ignite Humanity Live. I'm your host, Lady JB, and I am, as always, delighted to be here because I'm on location in Salt Lake City. As you can tell, I'm hanging out in my fabulous, loosely pseudo studio as we are coming to you live from Salt Lake City. I'm here at a convention, having a really great time. And what I will say is, igniting humanity is in all of us. We each have the ability to ignite one another. As I went to the convention, I was interested to see that it's been a while since we've all come together. It's interesting how being in a room with a bunch of other people feels good, to shake hands, to hug, to look people in the eye. But interestingly, when we were waiting for the doors to open, there was a bunch of people in the lobby, and there was some group laughing. They were all laughing. They were quite boisterous. And I looked over and I'm like, what are they laughing about? Which was interesting because for a long time, we have not been open and available. We haven't been laughing. We haven't been in group situations. And instead of going like, what are they laughing about? I was like, what are they laughing about? And off I went over to check out what they were doing, to see what all the laughter was about, and immediately to make some new friends and introduce myself to some new people and create the momentum of igniting humanity by meeting one another. We all want to make connections with each other. And this show is all about meeting people, some of the guests we bring on the show, to really inspire you, because it's our individuality that is so exciting and dynamic. And we want to connect with one another. And ways we do that is through Ignite Moments. We talk about some of the things that we have been through, some of the obstacles we've overcome, some of the challenges that we have persevered through. And in doing that, we've created a better version for ourselves. Now, we were all talking about, people came from all over the world to this convention. They went through some struggles, some trials, some tribulations, some travel, some driving, some luggage, some late planes. And in those enduring moments, just to get to a convention, it makes us more inspired, more interested, more available to what's possible for us. And so I want you to think today, wherever you at, whatever you have to struggle through today, wherever is unfolding for you, it's a wonderful gateway to what is next, to what is possible for you, to what is going to unfold for you. And today's show, we're going to talk about inspiration and ways to inspire you and get back to where we used to be. In fact, get forward to where it is we want to go, about connecting, being close to people, feeling that sense of camaraderie, and really using connection as the next currency of success for igniting humanity and doing the things that we all enjoy. All right, well, enough about that, because I could go on and on about the power of connecting and how good it feels to be around people. But you're watching the show. And so what I want to do is bring on a fantastic individual who's doing some fun stuff. Dr. Lori Kim coaches high-performing individuals and executives through her transformational intensive coaching programs designed to fully experience the benefits of conscious thriving. Dr. Lori is the founder of Flex IP Counsel, PLLC, a boutique intellectual property law firm located in Seattle, Washington. She's serving a select number of innovative and heart-centered brands and startups with advisory services relating to branding strategies and trademark registration services. Lori is amazing. She's passionate about raising the consciousness of humanity and raising the bar and helping each of us to understand the importance of shifting to a higher vibration. Welcome, Dr. Lori Kim. Come on in. How are you doing, my gorgeous?
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I am just inspired by just watching you, like we were saying this morning, you do 20x what normal people do. So I'm just in awe. I just imagine you with like 20 fairies running about and making you look glorious and beautiful as always.
Thank you so much for that. And here's the thing. I love what I do. I just love it. I feel like it's a joy. I feel like it's a blessing. It's a gift. I've been just blessed with this opportunity. And so that makes it easy and wonderful and fun. You also, I know, have an amazing gift, have an amazing talent, blessed to do so many things. Tell us a little bit about your passion, your zone of genius, what's in your heart, who's helping you? What are those fairies around in your life? Give us some information about you.
Well, thank you. I have to say that that's quite a lot. My inspiration has been really my mother, and you gave me, you gave all the co-authors an opportunity to share our wisdom stories in the Wisdom, Ignite Your Wisdom book, which I'm so proud of. And I always share this book to everyone I meet because of the fact that it made an impact on my life, and I'm sure that it's having tons of impact on the world through all our individual stories. My mother has been an inspiration to me, and as explained in my story, everything I did really was because her, challenging situation, and I always knew that I have opportunities that my mother never had, or even her generation of women. And it doesn't matter where the woman was located. There's no denying that we have options now that previous generations of women never had. And so I feel like it's I would be lazy and kind of not using all my divine gifts if I actually didn't, try to do my best. And it's not easy for any of us, but we have to still keep trying, right?
It's so beautiful that you say that. And I love that you're in the book. I love that you shared your message. I love that you talked about your mom and gave homage to her. And at the same time, you looked at some of the difficult things that she has been through, and you decided that you wanted to do it differently. You wanted to be an advocate. You wanted to step forth. You wanted your life to be different. And at the same time, you wanted to inspire other people's lives to be different. Can you share how that journey of writing and telling your story has transformed your life?
Yes, in so many ways. First, I actually thought that I had actually recovered from early childhood trauma. For your viewers, in case they don't know my story, I grew up in South Korea. My first 7 years were spent there, and my father I didn't have an opportunity to fully explain this in the 8 pages that we were allowed. So I didn't get to explain his backstory. He had been a soldier during the Korean War, and as a result, he, I believe, suffered a lot of extreme levels of PSTD. And as I understand it, even when he was a child, he lived through a period when Japanese actually occupied Korea. So he went through childhood trauma of his own. And then when he graduated from high school at the age of 17, my understanding is that he was delivered his graduation papers at the same time, and the other hand, draft papers. So imagine all your life you're looking forward to a very thriving life and very optimistic, but then this unforeseen circumstance happens, and communists are now invading your country. Imagine being crushed. And my father was a valedictorian of his school, and he actually aspired to be a lawyer, ironically.
Mm,
And whereas I started off wanting to be a scientist, I never even foresaw becoming a lawyer. But in the irony of that is when that realization didn't really hit me until I started writing my story, that I was making these connections that I never made. So to answer your question, what's the value of reviewing your past, no matter how traumatic it has been, is that you make these connections and on deeper levels of appreciation that you didn't have before, or you're not willing to look at because they were so painful. So I healed further during the writing process. I mean, it was not easy. It was a lot of crying. There was time out to do some extra healing to finish the story because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to divulge all the painful stories. But you have a conscious moment where you decide, are you going to share it all, or are you going to reserve just to feel less vulnerable and less prone to judgment? And I had a very truthful moment during the process where I looked at myself deeply and I said to myself, this story is not just for me. It um, it is for others who
mm,
also are experiencing the same difficulties, as well as leaving something for um, the books, the legacy, or the posterity, to actually have an example of a person who successfully recovered and actually found a
mm,
way to actually find happiness. And the way I define happiness actually is not so much external success. It's actually easy. in the United States. Not really easy, but it's easier now in the United States than ever before. In the history of US and also all the world, I do know that there's evolution and improvement in all countries around the globe. We just forget because of the fact that we are not current with the history of mankind, but the level of consciousness now compared to 50 years ago is higher than the last 100 years, last 40 years. It just improves, but it's so incremental that we just don't notice it. So I think that writing this story has been impactful because I'm a kinder person, more compassionate through my deeper spiritual practices, but also getting over my own inhibitions about fear of judgment. It's a big issue for all of us who raised in Western culture to fear being judged by others because that's the way the egoic mind works. But what I realize is that by being vulnerable, we not only
Mhm.
grow through the most difficult, most painful areas, but feel that I'm actually wiser and I can advise people by sharing my most painful moments, and we impact others not from our conceptual knowledge that helps, but to actually share really deep transformational journeys that we have actually walked through, not just talking, but actually walked through.
I just want to say thank you so much. First of all, for being so articulate and at the same time so vulnerable. Your story was so powerful, is so powerful, has touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people through the books going around the globe. And the way you share it and the way you speak about it, and you still feel it. And I think that's an important piece because many people have trauma or difficulties or pain and they feel like they're supposed to get over it. They're supposed to it's supposed to dissipate, disappear. It's never supposed to come back. And that really isn't normal or it isn't necessary. It's important to feel. And the fact that you feel as you do, you make us feel. And we all have to be feeling more. We all have to reopen our emotional capacity to connect with one another and to understand and feel compassion for one another. I love what you said that this made you a better person, even though it was painful along the process. It awakened you to some new ideas. We often talk about awakening on the show. Can you share a little bit about that? Because I think a lot of people avoid talking about the past because they just think about the pain. And I think if we remind them or even show them that the pain is so temporary compared to the awakening or the bliss, that it's worth it to go through the pain. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. I truly believe that I don't have any regrets anymore because throughout my 20s, 30s, even my 40s, early 40s, I always had this background feeling that I wish my life was a little bit different. It would be a lot easier. Other people who haven't had such trauma, it seemed like they were getting ahead in life. And that's actually a misrepresentation because
Mm-hmm.
they might be getting, it appears as if they're getting ahead in life, but we really don't understand day to day emotional experiences of people who we perceive as being successful. And I can tell you there are a lot of successful people I personally have known that actually have committed suicide or have done terrible things in their lives. And I think that when I look back, um, I have zero regrets. I mean, zero, because I truly understand that it was a gift. And I know it seems really, it doesn't make sense. It's not logical to say, how can you justify being emotionally abused, being exposed to domestic violence as a young child? How can you justify witnessing the abuse of your mother? How can you justify even physical abuse? In my case, it was just incidental, not recurrent, but there was one incident that was very traumatic that I shared in my story. But going back to the awakening process, I think that a lot of people have a mystery around it, and they also they don't believe it. They're very skeptical that that awakening can happen to a modern person. We can understand sages who are like meditating all day. They're in India. They're supported by a social structure that actually reveres, wisdom and spiritual evolution. In the United States and the Western developed world, we actually revere success more, external
Mm.
success, achievements. And I also,
Wow, forward, just push through, just keep going, just go after it. That's what we're taught and told. It's true.
and we are, even women have been educated and I guess conditioned to believe that our true value is actually in achievements. And now what we're seeing is a lot of women who are exuding so much masculine and energy, they're disconnecting with their feminine. And I believe that there are a lot of women coaches out there trying to help women reconnect to their feminine, because we've gone so far that
Hmm.
we have broken the nuclear family. There are more divorces now, and there are all these social issues. And I feel sorry for these children who are raised in broken families, because although sometimes it's unavoidable, there are consequences to children. We know that because of all the psychology research that's been done. But back to this awakening process that I personally experienced, it took a lot to break me down to the point of being debilitated in a bed in my mid 40s, where I was admitted to the hospital 3 times. This is how stubborn I am. I first was a rib fracture from overworking out at the gym. The ER doctor said that he didn't believe me that I actually fractured a rib working out. He thought that I was actually a victim of domestic abuse. I insisted, but he didn't believe me. The second one was a flu that symptoms of a flu that manifested in the summer, and it would not go away. I was suffering for 4 weeks. I thought I was going to die. And then at the fall of that year in 2012, I then got admitted to the hospital because of a thyroid infection, where I just was in bed for 4 weeks because no energy. And during that time was so critical that because I could not move, because I'm a workaholic, I have one addiction. It used to be work. And I didn't have food addictions or anything. It was work, because that's what my parents taught us as immigrants, that work was not an optional thing. You had to work. So because it was so ingrained in me that I didn't know when to shut it off. So anyway, here I am in bed, 4 months. What am I going to do? So I started to actually reconnect. Like, what did I do that was so wrong? I did everything possible. What did I do wrong? And then it occurred to me that one area of my being that I ignored was my spiritual evolution. And I became an atheist during college because I took science. I have a PhD in biochemistry. I went through the whole route, and they convinced me through the books and the teachings that evolution can happen on Earth without interference, or not interference, but actually the causal root being a divine creation. And as a
Hmm.
result, I explained to myself, I justify that we can have life on Earth with a bunch of molecules and enough heat and activation energy to actually create the first nucleic acid molecule. And from there, which we believe was RNA, and then it became a double-stranded DNA, and etc. So scientists love to justify the model of creation just by just material reactions. But I realized the gap that I have been brainwashed to believe that creation on earth and the universe could just happen by some spontaneous creation. I have no doubt now that creation is a divine manifestation, and I see divinity everywhere. And this is what this is part of my message that I want to get across to as many people as possible. We take for granted that a beautiful flower, like, where did this beautiful flower come from? It's just a little seed in dirt with minerals and organic matter, and then you have this blooming beautiful flower that is beyond description. And that's just one example. Look at the sky, look at us, we're divine
Hmm.
creatures, but then we actually judge each other and we cut each other up. So to kind of wrap this up, because I can talk about this forever.
Well,
I
yeah, and I was just going to say you have so much to share, and I love it. The science behind it and the way you've shifted the new narrative, I adore. Let me ask you, in the spirit of inspiring people, you talked about it. I love to inspire people at the beginning before in a pre-show. Talk a little bit about how can we inspire the listener, the reader, the person who's sitting on the edge of their seat, like me, listening to you, Lori. What can we do to inspire them to know that, okay, now they're ready to bloom?
Oh, I love that segue. Yes. So I always ask the same thing to myself as, what can I do to make this moment? You talk about ignite moments, and there are pivotal decision points that we need to make in critical periods of our time. But how about we actually shift that a little bit? And ignite moments don't have to be always around crisis situations. But
Exactly.
what if we wake up every day and ask an intentional, conscious question to ourselves to help us to actually shift our energy, our vibration, because we now know that we're all vibrational beings. And if what can we do to ask an empowering question every day to help you shift? And the one that I keep going back to is, what can I do today to make my life a a an enchanting moment, or to
Mm.
unfold whatever is happening right now. I could just wake up someday, I'm not at my best. What's the smallest thing I can do? I can eat a healthy meal. I can actually get a massage. I can go and exercise. I can stretch. I can do a lot of healing and self care, and also meditation. I think that when you start off your day with meditation, and if you don't have time to fit it in the morning, you can do it in the afternoon, right before lunch or whatever. It doesn't take much to quiet your mind, center yourself into your being, reconnect with your soul. And I believe you can actually every day incrementally increase the vibration from love, from the anger, anxiety, uncertainty, to more kindness to others, kindness to ourselves, self compassion. It just gets higher and higher. And now my normal vibrational range is going from a very anxious person in my 40s as a lawyer, in bed and all that. It probably was around 5 to 7 was my range. I wasn't living at the beyond the 7. Now my normal is 8 to 9, and 10 on some few occasions where I had the most awesome workout. I listen to my favorite songs, but there's so many strategies that you can do to just make yourself happier, and they work. They really work.
Such great advice and such great sharing, because you're right. Many of us are just on the hamster wheel, working as hard as we can, making work the most important thing. And really, what this show is all about is to show you that you can have both. You can have it all. Maybe you can't have it all at exactly the same time, every wish and dream pouring into you at exactly the same moment, but you don't necessarily want that. Enjoy each phase, enjoy each stage, enjoy each experience, and really take the essence of what the divine is giving you. Well, before we go, any last words you would love somebody to just feel from you, shared by you, touched by you, so that they can really know that your message and them being here today is divine and is perfect, and they needed to hear this from you?
I think that our greatness is actually in our soul. And the more you can do to reconnect with your being, it it's beyond words, the transformation I've gone through. And I have to say, every tragedy had an upside, a silver lining. And I say, no matter where you are, see every challenge as a gift. It really is the magical connection that you need to. You can't want another life. You don't want to be someone else. There's a reason why you're here, and you just have to find your gifts and then share with the world. And I just feel so blessed that we crossed our path, because you really have inspired a lot of us. And I still think, I think that you're not real. I
Teach me,
think
I'm real.
Yeah. Well, you just are just outstanding in everything you do, and if we can only walk in your shoes and share, and I want to pour some love into you because you have over delivered as far as our book publication, the entire journey, how you mentored us, you inspired us. I cannot say enough about the impact this book is going to have on so many people, even after we pass. I believe this is going to have lasting effect. This is the most impactful thing I've ever done. And I truly mean that. And I publish, other articles, but that's nothing compared to the opportunity to share my personal tragedies as well as the positive
Triumphs.
upside.
Yes, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, my sweet. We're going to pop up on the screen how people can find you. Incredible lawyer, wonderful, amazing friend. Folks, really, please connect with Dr. Lori. Such a beautiful and wonderful person. And I want to just thank you for showing up and just being real and honest and authentic and pouring it out there, because there are so many people that have been touched by your sharing. And I just want to say this, folks. Today, when you are out and about, please give someone a hug. And when you're hugging them, just send a little bit of hugging energy to Dr. Lori Kam. We're going to be hugging for you from around the globe. Love you so much, my darling. Have a great day. And thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Well, folks, if you do get a chance to and make an effort to hug somebody today, and then just give a little energy to Lori and give a little energy to somebody you know that might be struggling and maybe could use a little bit of vibrational hugging, a little bit of love and support. I'm so thankful for Lori to be talking about the power of Ignite. If you'd like to know about our books and be one of our authors, you can happily share in our upcoming Ignite books. We're doing Ignite Your Courage and Ignite Your Purpose and Ignite Humanity, and incredibly huge. We're trying to do the largest compilation book ever. And if you want to know more about Ignite Humanity, go to our website. We're talking about our book. We're talking about our documentary. We're talking about our TV show. All kinds of fun things are happening over at ignitehumanity.life. Also helping you find out more about how to ignite humanity. And one of the ways we are doing that is through building schools. That's right. We're building schools around the globe, and we would love for you to be a part of that. $1 donation buys a brick in one of our schools made from recycled plastic out of the landfills. It's a double win-win. Plastic out of the landfills, building bricks, making schools, helping children, igniting literacy. That's like the 3X, 4X, and 5X win. And we would love for you to be a part of that. If you'd like to be on the show, please fill out our type form and tell us about you. Share what you're up to so we can showcase you and talk about how you are igniting humanity. And of course, if you want to watch any of our episodes, they are wonderful and 100% free. You can go to our website. You can go to Traverse TV. You can jump on Facebook every morning. You can be here, right now, each and every weekday between Monday and Friday. We want to pour into you. We want you to feel ignited. We want you to feel like, you know what? I'm going to go out today and do something exciting. I'm going to grab hold of my life in a different way. And I'm going to be the kind of person that inspires another person to go out and live their best version of them. All right, blessings, everybody. See you tomorrow from Salt Lake City.
Now, more than ever, we need to come together to connect with one another. We need to feel the truth in who we are and let go of everything that's happened in the past. We need to empower every person on the planet and awaken hearts, enliven souls, come together, laugh, play, rejoice, connect, create, and love. It's time to ignite humanity. We want you to be a part of something that will impact the future for everyone. We want you to tell your story, share your Ignite moment, show people who you truly are. Be a part of igniting humanity and making a difference in the world and all of our futures.